Welcome back to another video. In this video, we will be covering if statements and switch statements. Let's start off with the if statement first, as it's simpler. It's slightly simpler than the switch one. So as you can see, I already have the code for a basic if statement right here. They do get far more complex than this, but that depends on the situation. I'll show an example of a slightly more complex one. I'll show two examples. So starting off with this, as you can see, there is a comparison operator being used here. This comparison operator is basically just uh, checking if this variable is equal to the constant 2, this constant 2, and this, and I'm using an assignment operator in the previous line to reveal the value of favorite number. As you can see, favorite number I've assigned it as 2. So that means if this comparison operator is checking if a if a variable is equal to a constant, then this would be true, which would mean that the line below it, this line, will be the output. I will show what it looks like. The output would be thanks. Yeah, because I've put thanks over here. So because this is true, the line below it, this would be the output. Or the line below it, whatever code there is, it can be it can be a really large code. That would be implemented. So now another comparison operator is this one. So this one is just greater than or equal to. So again, this one will be true because 2 is equal to 2. And if I remove this, however, if I remove this, then this condition is no longer true because 2 is not larger than 2, and this comparison operator is basically indicating that favorite number must be larger than 2 for this to be outputted, for this condition to be true, which would result in this being outputted. Otherwise there would be no output because there's no further statement like else or else if, which we'll cover later. So there will be no output this time. Yeah. Now let's have a look at the else statement. I was just mentioning it a bit ago. So now the output would be high because since this statement was, since this condition is false, that means the code won't be implemented under it. But whenever this is false, this one will be outputted. Else is just when there's other statements apart from the if one that are there. Like if there's else if over here as well, and if they're all false, then else will be the one that is outputted. I'll show an example of that later on using else if. So the output here would be high in essence. Yeah. Now let's try with else if. The else if statement. Yeah, so this is the else if statement. There can be an unlimited number of these, but do note that the more of these else if that you have, the less efficient the program will be. The compiler will take a longer period of time to run. So because of this reason, if there are multiple else if statements, then the switch statement is a better choice. Because it will be more efficient if there is a large number of else if. So now as you can see in this case, I've put the condition as equal to 2, which we already know is true. So now if we output this, else is not going to be the output this time. I mean the code under the else is not going to be the output this time. It's going to be the code under the else if statement, because this is the only one that is true. So the output would be by in this case, as you can see over here. Yeah. Now I want to show an example with strings, because we haven't really done anything on string. I haven't really shown this to you guys on strings. And there are many if statements being used on string. They can be used on any data type, not just integer or string. Okay, so in this case, I will give you guys 5 seconds to decide what the output would be in this case. I think that should be 5 seconds, right? So I think you can probably guess that based on based on this video game being equal to Fortnite in this case, and in this case it would be equal to Call of Duty. These two will not be the output, because these two statements are false. As I've used the assignment operator to put Minecraft here, to give the Minecraft value for the video game. So this would mean that actually else will be the correct one. The code under the else will be the correct one. So the output would be high in this case. Congratulations if you got that correct. Yeah. Now let's move on to the switch statement. So for switch statements, I'll just write the code for it, and then I can explain it. Right. So now that the code is done, I can explain. So what is going on here? I've assigned the value of 3 to color. Color is a variable, by the way, as you can see from line 3. And after assigning the value of 3 to color, there are a bunch of cases over here. Case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4. So I assigned the value of 3 to color. So now now the compiler is going to compare which case value is equal to the value I assigned to color. So if we look at case 1, is 1 equal to 3? No, right? So then this will not be outputted. So in this case, red is not going to be outputted. 2 is also not equal to 3, which would mean that blue is also not the output. Now 3 is equal to 3, which means that the output of this program is going to be green, as you can see over here. So so this is similar to the if state. Oh, I forgot one part of the code. Now I'll explain what this break does in a moment. So, where was I? Now if we look at 4, 4 is not equal to 3, which is pretty obvious. So then the output is not going to be yellow. This means that this is quite similar to the if statement actually, because if statement also did something quite similar, as it looked at as if this condition met, then the code below it will be the one that is implemented or outputted. So now let's run it and see what the output is. It would be green in this case. Yeah. Okay, now let me explain what this break does. So, break just prevents anything that runs after it to run. Let me rephrase that. Break just makes the program makes the compiler leave the switch statement entirely. It makes it leave it. So then anything after this case 3, wherever it's true, will not be outputted. So if I remove break here, the output would be green and yellow, because I did not tell the compiler to get out of the switch statement after in this context. Yeah, the output is both green and yellow. And you saw that in the previous time I outputted it, the output was only green. And there's a reason why if statements can be used more often than switch. It's because switch only works for a specific number of data types. It doesn't work for every single data type. And now there's also one more thing that I didn't mention in switch statements. There's also something called default, which works similar to the else statement in an if statement. Let me write that down. Yeah, so default. So default is just, as I said, it's similar to the else. It's similar to else in if statements. So now that I've given that hint, you can probably guess what default means. Okay, so default is when all of these are false. So that would mean that I would assign the value of 7, for example. It can be anything larger than 4, or not equal to 1, 2, 3, or 4. So in this case, the output would be invalid. I forgot to break. Okay, I think the issue is with my Java version, but this should normally work. I suggest you try this out with your Java IDE. If it works on yours, then please let me know. Then I'll try to sort this out. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope this was an informative and useful video for you. Thank you.